let me show you something else what happens. Look at verse number 10. Afterward, I came into the house of Shemaiah, the son of Delello, the son of Mehetabel, who was shut up. And he said, let us meet together in the house of God, within the temple, and let us shut the doors of the temple, for they will come in to slay thee. Yea, in the night will they come to slay thee. He says, hey, let's go to church. It's safe in church. Let's go to the house of God and let's shut the doors. Nothing is wrong with going to the house of God in the time of trouble. It used to be where people went to the house of God in the time of trouble. Ain't nothing wrong with going to the house of God in the time of trouble. Amen. We have sanctuary with God in the house of God. We can go to Him when we're in trouble, and we can lay hold of our hands on the altar and pray till our petition is heard. But that's not what was happening here. This guy was trying to get him to quit the work. He was sent there not to go and hide out in the temple. He was sent to go build the wall. That's what Nehemiah was sent to do, was to build the wall. Amen. So anything else was going to be detraction of what he was supposed to do. Look at verse number 11. And I said, should such a man as I flee? And who is there that, being as I am, who would go into the temple to save his life? I will not go in. What kind of a man do you think I am? If I'm a messenger of the king, I'm on commission of the king, I'm in service of the king, and if I don't carry out what the king says and I hide for my life, what kind of a man am I? No, the king has set me on a commission. The king has told me to do a certain thing. And regardless of what Sanballat says, no matter what Tobiah says or Geshem has to say, I don't care what any one of those say. I'm going to do what God has told me to do and preach what God has told me to preach and to carry out what God has told me to carry out. I don't care what they say. I answer to the King of Heaven, and He gave me a commission to do it. Right. Amen. So here's you find that he brought in that Mishabel hired a prophet to deceive. He brought him in to deceive. Look at what it says in verse number 13. Therefore he was hired. Verse number 12. And lo, I perceived that God had not sent him, but that he pronounced this prophecy against me. For Tobiah and Sanballat had hired him. This guy went, these two idiots went out and hired someone to bring out all kinds of slander against Nehemiah. Brought out all kinds of, had someone go and try digging up the history, trying to digging up the past, tried bringing up wild accusations to destroy Nehemiah. And Nehemiah says, I perceive that's not of God. I'm not going to go with it. I'm not going to believe what's happening. But can you imagine the low-life scum that Sanballat Tobiah did by hiring and commissioning someone to go and deceive, to stop God's work from being done? Can you believe that? Look what it says in verse number 13. Therefore was he hired, that I should be afraid, and do so, and sin, and that they might have matter for an evil report, that they might reproach me. If I stop doing the work of God, I've sinned. If I do the work of God, I'm going to be evil spoken of. I would rather be evil spoken of for Christ's sake, and do the work that He sent me to do, and preach what He's told me to preach, than to have all the praise and honor of men. Right. But I'm going to do what God told me to do. Look what verse number 14 says. My God, think thou upon Tobiah and Sanballat, according to these their works, and on the prophecies of Noadiah, and the rest of the prophets that would have put me to fear. Look what it says in verse 15. So the wall was finished in the 25th day of the month Ehul, in 52 days. It took 52 days to build the wall of Jerusalem. That's pretty awesome. He was at it. He was all at it. He was 100% in, all in doing the work of God. But he says, at the end of the day, he says, you know what, God? You think about it. You handle them. I can't. I can spend my time trying to defend myself. I can spend my time trying to stick up for what I believe. But at the end of the day, God, you handle them. I'm just going to keep on doing what you told me to do. And in 52 days, the walls were completed. From start to finish, 52 days. That's pretty awesome. But he had to give it over to God.